Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Multipliers Club with myself, Joe Todd, and my two co-hosts, Sam Warrington and Luke Harvey. Again, unfortunately, Jake Walters is not here today with us. We wish him well, but he's in hospital currently fighting off pneumonia. So, a lot of love out to Jake, and hopefully he can get back on the show soon. So today we're going to talk about how to start a social media agency, marketing agency, shall I say, which these two boys obviously co-own, Harvey Warrington Media. So first of all, I guess my first question would be, why did you actually come to start this business? What made you choose this industry?
I was running a house event and I was kind of getting into marketing just randomly by like building up the page, trying to get people to come to the events, running little ads, but like really like low level stuff, I'd say. And then from doing that, a few people say, can you run my page? Can you run my page and build my following and run ads for me, etc. So I thought, okay, cool. Well, I might have a look into it. Anyway, so I went to Cape Verde on holiday, and on the first day, it's got super burnt. Like, obviously, I'm just so pale, anyways. Like, and it was literally like blisters on my chest, like fat blisters. I've never had that so bad before. So then I had to sit in the shade for like 7 days straight. So I thought, what can I do with this time? Because I literally can't go in the sun. So I just researched so heavy how to start like a marketing agency from knowing really not that much at all. So I actually sat there 7 hours a day just banging through videos after video after video. And then like, I just knew after watch 5 days in, I'm like, I reckon Sam would be the perfect person to do this with. So I must have called Sam up and pitched in the idea, and he said yeah straight away, to be fair. So that's how we kind of got started.
Yeah, it's how it started. It was quite random, really. It was interesting. At the time, I was working in a sales role. Got into sales at the age of like 17. Always done quite well from commission-based roles. So I think Luke kind of approached me thinking, right, Luke's very procedural, he's very smart, whereas I'm very good with people, selling stuff, building relationships, etc. So we didn't really know it at the time, but it ended up being an amazing partnership that's led to a multi-six-figure agency today. But for a bit of context in terms of like how it started, so yeah, got the call from Luke. Didn't know anything about marketing at the time. Luke might have known a little bit. I didn't even know how to work Facebook, right? Like, no word of a lie. I deleted Facebook back in like 2012, downloaded it again in 2019. It was a completely different platform. Like, if you remember Facebook in the early 2010 era, it's very different to how it is today, right? But then the first person that I called at the time, we were offering something called social media management. And the industry's changed a lot. Like back in the day, you could easily get people real followers. You could sell someone a package of 1,000 followers a month, real followers, and you could charge a premium for it. So first person I called was a guy called Simon, who runs a company called SK Roofing. I snuck out from my job at the time. I think I told my manager I was going to like the toilet or something. I must have been in the toilet for about an hour and a half. Picture this guy, and he was just listening to me, and I don't know how, but he was like, "You're all right, mate, I'll sign up." And I was like, "What, really?" He was like, "Yeah." I was like, "All right, sweet. I didn't even think we sent invoices at the time. I was
no way, man. Just straight bank details, personal account.
I'll send you my bank details. At first I was thinking, am I going to meet this guy for cash or what? I didn't really know how it was going to work out. But yeah, sending my bank details. At the time we were charging, I think like £200 a month, which doesn't sound like a lot. But at the time, it was huge, mate. Like, it was literally amazing. And instantly it was that belief. It was like, fuck. Like, I called Luke straight after. I was like, bro, this guy's agreed to sign up with us. This is the first person I've ever called. He was like, we're going to be rich.
What year was that in? What year did you get started?
2019.
2019,
Yeah.
so 4 years ago.
Yeah, in the summer.
And so that first deal that you closed, was that just a rolling thing? Was there any contract? Was there any kind of agreement for a set period of time? Or
at the time,
was
mate,
it just send me 200 quid and I'm going to see what I can do?
I didn't even know what a contract was at the time, bro. Like,
I think we were just, at that time, it was literally just like, at that moment in time, it was really easy to get followers on Instagram. Like, you could literally like do follow unfollow strategy. Basically, you follow people, and you follow 100 people, let's say, every hour. 10 will follow you back.
Yeah, even just posting frequently, because obviously it was chronological order and hashtags worked.
Yeah, precisely. Yeah,
so many.
like it was quite easy to run a social media marketing agency back then. You didn't really need a world of experience. Like, even today, like if you're offering social media management as a service, if your client has the content, a lot of people know what they have to do in terms of they just want 3 posts a week on social media, they want 3 stories a week. It doesn't take a genius to do that, right? The industry's changed a lot in terms of that doesn't really work anymore. Like organic marketing, especially on Instagram and Facebook, is very, very difficult. But it was quite easy to offer a service without a world of knowledge. At the time, we weren't running paid ads. You know, I think we got into that about 2020, I want to say. But that's really how it started, just offering very basic social media management. And, you know, the first person I called signing him as a client, mate, we thought it was going to be easy. It was not easy, mate. It was very hard. I think we were stuck on one client for about 2-3 months, but it just installed that belief. We were like, wow, this is really possible. The more research we were doing, you know, I was finding people on YouTube. We learned from a great guy called Jordan Platten. You know, people were making like 30, 40, 50,000 a month who didn't go to university, weren't necessarily that academic, weren't even necessarily like that book smart, but, you know, they had a system, they followed it, they had a process and they built it. So, yeah, we had that belief, man, and we thought, it's time, like, let's do this. Now is the time. So that's how it really started.
And from there, how many, so you had one client for the first 2-3 months. What did it then sort of look like? How did that progress? How many clients were you getting? When did you up the prices? And
Simon was, I think you called it a golden goose maybe. So it's where you've got someone and they end up helping you get more clients because he was a roofer. His friends did scaffolding. His other friend did driveways. His other friend did carpentry. And we were making decent money for him. So he was like, gave us all his friends effectively. So then we kind of built our first bit of money off of that, and then randomly as well, like we had random restaurants, like barbers, like it was so random. There was like not really a niche to it. We did have obviously the trade niche because that's the most of them, but it was proper random.
It was really random, yeah. I mean, shout out Simon. Our whole business for the first 6 months was built from this guy. I think we started off charging like £200 a month. Again, this is like 4.5 years ago now, so it's different today. But then that £200 a month doesn't sound like a lot. You've got 5, you're doing £1,000 a month. You know, you get 10, you're doing 2,000 a month. I think we got to about 7, 8 clients. All I remember is we were doing about £2,500 a month revenue, which just wasn't being touched. Like Luke was still working in the bank full time, I was still working in recruitment full time. So we were building up like not loads of dough, but you know, it was stacking month on month. Then it, you know, fast forward from June 2019 to I think it was January 2020, COVID hit, and then everything changed. From March onwards, we spent £3,000 on a Facebook ads course. So we've now learned Facebook ads. We're starting to offer different services. Business is finally picking up. We made our first hire. We got a virtual assistant, and then March 2020, lockdown. We went from making 3K a month as a side hustle to like zero, like no money. Like I'm talking no money at all. £0 per month. No, tell a lie. We had 2 employees at that stage. We had Ashton and we had John Dave. Do you remember?
Yeah.
So they were kind of running a business for us whilst we were working, and we had to make the calls. We had to let them go, you know, because there was no money to pay the staff. So we're kind of sitting on our hands a little bit. We're like, okay, cool. Look, we've learned this trade. We know we can do it, but like businesses can't even operate. This is, bro, you can even get a takeaway when COVID first happened. Yeah. Construction companies couldn't trade. No one was doing anything. So at the time, I think I saw someone in the Beckenham area. They were selling fruit and veg, right? They're going around. They were selling fruit and veg to houses. And I called Luke. I was like, mate, this guy's selling fruit and veg boxes for £20, and he's promoting it on his Instagram. I was like, surely we can do this, but better with our marketing strategy. Then the next thing that comes to mind, we've got a friend called Connor Barnes. He works in the fruit and veg industry. Gave him a call. I was like, bro, can you sort fruit and veg? Because we've got a sick marketing strategy. No one can get fruit and veg or any food at this stage because the supermarkets are closed. It was terrible. Like, people who were vulnerable genuinely couldn't get food. And Connor was like, I can get fruit and veg in 24 hours. It's like, bang, showtime. So we spend like, not loads, I think we spent like 500 quid on buying some fruit and veg. We made 20 boxes. Luke created some Facebook ads around the Surrey area. Within like the first, 2 hours, we must have had about 100 messages.
It was crazy stuff. It was crazy. There was so many people were messaging. It was mad. We were using like ManyChat, so it's like automated. So it's trying to send people their menu. We tried to automate as much as possible, but there was so many coming through.
It was nuts. So we were selling fruit and veg boxes for 30 quid. It was costing us about 10 quid to make. So every sale we were making £20. First couple of hours we were sold out. We turned 500 quid into, I can't even remember, but more than a 500. We were like, right, let's load up. Like, this is going to be a sick little business from here on. So we might have lost all of our clients, but we used our skill with Facebook ads to create a fruit and veg business essentially through COVID. And it was probably like one of the most fun times of my life, because everyone was locked down and we were just rolling around the whole of South London and Surrey, you know, selling fruit and veg boxes to Margaret, Brenda, Susan. They were loving it because they were getting our food. And it
was a good way to actually like practice ads on ourselves as well for the first time, like our actual businesses.
Yeah, for
and then
sure.
we helped a couple like other businesses that were local as well. Like there was this guy who'd owned a fish seafood company his whole life, selling commercial to restaurants. Obviously every restaurant shut, so he needed to change it to doing it to domestic. So then we set up adverts for him, and the whole kind of same structure with the fruit and veg, but selling fish. Did that for him. Kind of just did that as like literally for free. Just
I remember. Didn't you do it for like a lot of restaurants that maybe didn't offer takeaway service that then kind of needed to adapt? And
we did it for one of the local like Mediterranean ones as well. Yeah,
I remember.
We were even offering, like, because we still had the marketing agency in the background. I remember it was the first ever video I put out in my life, actually speaking to a camera, the day of the lockdown, just saying, anyone that needs help with their business, who's got a restaurant or anything, they want to create a takeaway service, reach out to me or Luke, we'll give you help for free. Like, we were giving free social media audits at the time. So we took on, I think it was one seafood restaurant who was a supplier to Michelin star restaurants. All the Michelin star restaurants were like, they were closed. So he started a delivery service and it transformed his business. We transformed a pizza company into a delivery business, really helped them. And then me and Luke kind of said to each other, we were like, well, like, this Facebook ad thing really, really works. You know, we can actually scale this as soon as the businesses are back open. This is going to be what's going to, you know, help us quit our full-time jobs.
Imagine the person that we actually helped do the seafood company, like, he still doesn't even know that we helped him. Like, has no idea, because basically, like, he was going for a obviously stressful time. Like, he's running a mad business for like 20 years or whatever, and it's gone out under, so his son and daughter were trying to help him out. So then they were paying for the adverts for him, and then we were running the adverts for him and helping him. And then then Sam would be speaking to him. He has no idea we're doing anything for him. Like, he had no idea.
Oh, really?
It really pissed me off because we were working for free and we were doing hours.
Why didn't he know?
Because he had 2 kids, right? And his kids, like, really, really nice kids, they didn't want to stress the dad out. So the kids were actually fronting the ad budget. So we weren't charging a service charge, they were paying for the ad budget.
Oh, right.
So like, the kids would be like, oh my God, this is really good. But then I'm thinking, I want to talk to the decision maker, because I want him to appreciate what we're doing, and then maybe one day sign him as a client.
And use it as like a case study, because it was for free, and we actually, honestly, you don't understand, we got them mad orders, like bare orders, like we set up the whole thing. They had no idea like how to do any of it. So then it was like, and then like Sam spoke to that, and he just didn't have a clue, and he kind of got his back up because we didn't try. It wasn't like we were going out of the way to tell him that we're doing all this work for him, but he literally like didn't even say like thank you, I don't think, at the time.
Yeah, he didn't say thank you.
Maybe he'll listen to this and now finally
Yeah.
realise and
I wonder if
reach
they
out.
still do it. I don't know if they still do the domestic or whatever, but yeah, that was interesting.
Okay, so you've done all of that. Then so currently you've got no actual paying clients in the social media thing. You're doing well on the fruit and veg. You've helped a few businesses. When did you start picking up some clients back into the social media marketing company, and also what did it kind of look like then? I'm guessing you've learned a lot. Is your price, have you got a bit more structure now? Have you got a bit more confidence in what you're selling and up to prices?
So
everyone came back, didn't they?
Everyone came,
left.
Everyone did come back who was paused. We didn't have contracts at the time, so we didn't have any like COVID protection. We didn't really need it because it was a side hustle, but everyone's always liked me. Well, the majority of people have always liked me and Luke, who have been our clients. They've always wanted to go above and beyond to help us. I mean, the whole business was built on referrals at this stage. They saw us as like, when we're young kids, we're trying to, build something. So as soon as that business is back opened, they give us a call and they wanted to start again. Because, I mean, at the time, we were cheap as fuck as well, we weren't much money for what we were doing. So I think maybe around, I want to say like May time. But I'll tell you what the real penny drop was. How we were signing clients, and anyone listening to this who is in SMMA, social media marketing, or wants to start one, a real good way to sign clients when you don't have cash flow, you don't have ad budget, is use your Instagram account. If your Instagram account's full of like you at festivals getting off your nut, don't use that account. Create a new account, put some cool pictures of you in a suit with your girlfriend, whatever. build a following, start DMing people. If you find a niche you want to work with, at the time I was trying to contact barbering companies, barbering shops, message loads of barbering companies. Hey, how are you? Do you want some help with getting new clients? Looking at your page, you're doing a lot of things right, but here's a couple of things what I'd advise where I think I can help you. Let me know if you want some free advice. If you can lead a message with value and say we're giving free advice, and then you can notice something about their page, it doesn't sound salesy. It sounds like, okay, this guy's took the time to look at my page. He's analysed the post, said he likes it, but this could improve. He's got my attention. So that's how we were trying to sign clients. We'd be sending, I can't even tell you how many DMs, a lot of DMs every single day, to the point our accounts were getting shadow banned, basically.
Yeah, I think we're doing like 40 on my account and 40 on Sam's account, and then 40 on Ashton's account.
Yes.
Just every day. But it's a numbers game. Like if you DM 40 people, 120 people, like 10% of them will probably read it because it'll go into the requests or whatever at that time, and then a few of them will message back. And that's all you need, one conversation a day to kind of get more clients.
I remember, I don't know if it's still the same, you might know this for anyone that is looking to start, or for other businesses anyway. I used to have to send, I think, about 15 messages and then change the first couple of words, change the last couple of words, copy and paste, send them again. And that's going to allow you to send a lot more messages without getting blocked.
That's correct, yeah. So we would send like 10 messages with a certain paragraph frame.
Yeah.
And then I believe the algorithm didn't necessarily notice always the words, but it was the shape of a message. So instead of leaving a full stop, try an exclamation mark for the next 10. Leave 2 paragraphs instead of 1. Try a couple of different emojis. But in answer to your question, how it kind of changed, I think it was May 2020. I messaged a barbering shop, right, based in Ascot. Spoke to a lovely lady called Jane. She was so nice, bless her. And she signed up with us, and then we went from charging 200 a month to like 300 a month. It was our first ever signed contract, Luke. Do you remember? We actually sent a contract and she signed it. And I was so scared to send her a contract. I said, honestly, if you do decide to leave, I'm not going to take his call. Please just sign it. Which is so crazy to think of now. But yeah, that was our first contract. And then, it kind of just went from there, really. Like, the journey's been amazing, because if you look at where we were to charging £200 a month to where we are now, our agency's doing some real cool numbers. We've got a team of, I believe it's 12 now, because we've hired even more staff. And we're running at some really nice, cool profit margins every single month. So, yeah, we turned it into a multi-6-figure agency, which is crazy. It's so possible to do that with social media marketing, because it is genuinely, it's a cash flow business.
Yeah, so obviously that, especially as you was working your full-time jobs, both of you, like you were saying, you wasn't touching the money. There is no cost other than your phone and your laptops, which you probably already owned. There is no outlay, was there, at the time, until obviously you took on staff. But that 200 quid a month, I know it's only 200 quid a month, but like you say, you have, when you got that to 2.5 grand, there's no overheads whatsoever, is there? It's just you, your time.
No, so we were just investing it straight back in. Like, we've got a website built. Like, I built a website. Like, you can build websites on Wix yourself. Yeah. Like, with really good templates. It's
and
probably
a bit of YouTube and even AI now.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like,
it was so much easier to write the copy for the websites now, and then you can just bang it out.
Exactly.
Yeah, for sure.
So then moving forward from there, so we're now coming out of lockdown. You got some new clients back. You're charging that little bit more money. How did it then progress?
So I think when we first started, in that period of time, it was page management, like what Sam was saying. We were posting on Instagram, replying to DMs, etc. Whereas when we started to run when we did the pandemic, we did the ads during the pandemic, we realised that actually we can make our clients more money by running them the adverts. Because the adverts, like, obviously you might have 100 followers, but if you're putting £10 a day into adverts, you're going to get seen by thousands of people. So we realised that was actually making people the money, and the organic stuff wasn't. So we started to transition away from doing page management and running adverts for people. And obviously when you're running adverts for people, it takes more time, there's more skill to it, so you can charge more, but it makes them more money. So it's kind of like a win-win.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. That's kind of like how it progressed, really. I'll tell you where the real game changer was when I got fired from my recruitment job. That's when everything changed. That's when everything completely just transformed from a business that was stuck probably around 2,500 a month to, I think within the first 2 months of me going full time, that 2.5K turned to 6.5K. We kind of stuck on that for a little while. But the minute you turn your side hustle into a hustle where you have no other source of income, you've got credit card debt, you've got overheads every single month from rent, that hustle now is the only way you're going to be able to pay your bills, look after your family or whatever it might be, and survive. So sometimes I find side hustles somewhat of a bit of a conflict of interest in terms of, well, it's a side hustle, you don't need it. But where it really changed for me is the minute I needed to make it work, it blew up.
Why did you get fired from your job?
So I got fired from my job because at the time I was in a very high demand sales job. I was in a tech recruitment role at a really cool company with an amazing manager who I still speak to today and gives me a lot of mentorship because we just had a great relationship. But the reason I got fired was because I wasn't doing much because I had my side hustle.
Spending too much time on the side hustle.
Correct, yeah. And I negotiated a fairly good salary for a recruiter. I sold myself massively in the interview. Really got along with the guy who interviewed me. I mean, the guy who interviewed me was a millionaire. He took me outside of his house. His neighbour was Hermione Granger from Hogwarts. And I was so bought into this guy. Like, he had everything I wanted. He had the 100k watch on his wrist. He had the £5 million house. And I just thought, I want to learn from this guy. The reason it didn't work is because when you're trying to build something alongside trying to build a recruitment division, it's very difficult to do both. It's probably why out of our property business and a marketing agency, the marketing agency's blown up, the property business is quite stagnant.
It's kind of your side hustle now, even the property business sort of.
Still to this day, yeah. So I think how it all changed was, when I got fired, it was still COVID, to be fair. Like, I think we went into the second lockdown. I think it was like September 2020, I got fired. And literally the first person I called was my mum. I spoke about this in a previous podcast. And I just said, Mum, I got fired and I never want to work for anyone again. I've been doing this my whole life. I'm working 8 in the morning till 7, 8 o'clock at night is what people expect from you in recruitment. I was sick of it. I was burnt out. I was depressed. I was miserable. I wasn't earning the money I wanted to be earning. But it's invisible handcuffs, right? Like, at the time I was in £6,000 worth of credit card debt, which was always just mentally eating at me.
What was that for? Just stupid behaviour or into the business or? Stupid
behaviour definitely is part of it. But then I also think it's because I moved out quite young. So I was 23 when I moved out. Moving out, having a lifestyle, what you were living at home when you move out is very hard to manage because you have food to buy. Like, the first 3 months of me moving out, I was still shopping in M&S. So I was still going out, spending like stupid money on the weekend. And before you know it, I just bang it on the plastic. I just bang it on the credit card. And before you know it, £2,000, you pay off the minimum. Then you got £3,000, 4 months down the line, you're 6-7 grand deep. And it's so easy to happen when your overheads are so high. So yeah, it was a situation where, my mum said, look, Sam, you need another fucking job. Like, you're in a pandemic, you moved out, you've got a Mercedes on finance, I had a watch on finance. I wasn't always that smart with money. And I'm glad I wasn't, because I've learned from it so much on how not to be now. And I'm smart with money now, luckily, for those lessons. She was like, you have to get another job. And I was like, I'm not getting another fucking job. I didn't. I've risked it all, mate. I've risked everything. And luckily it worked out, but I think it worked out purely because of how much me and Luke worked on this and how much we invested emotionally and financially. When you've put everything into something, what other options do you have? You have to make it work. Otherwise, you're genuinely fucked. Yeah. You got to make it work.
And in the meantime, Luke you were still working, weren't you? How long until you managed to quit your job?
It was so Sam got fired, and then we were making enough for it to be like, look, whatever, like, you just pay yourself to do it full time, and we need someone in to help you. So we brought in one of our friends, Ashton, to just help with whatever we need help with, really. And I was just carrying my job, so I was going through my mortgage at the same time, so I couldn't leave. So mine was about six months later, maybe.
Yeah.
But it's crazy. So when Sam quit his job, he managed to get it from 2k a month to 6k a month. And then when I went, I was still working mad hours in the evening and stuff. But when I quit my job, that means I think we went from 6 to 12. So it's mad. It's when you can put all that time into it and actually focus on it. Before, literally on my lunch break, both of us on a lunch break doing sales calls. I'm trying to do the adverts after work, having meetings and that, and then doing the adverts he's trying to sell in the evening. It's crazy stuff. I think social media marketing is one thing that it was never really a risk. Like Sam could have got another job so easily, could have gone and got another job, but we already had enough money for him to do it. You can build up a little bit of money for you to go full time now. If you can get £1,000 or a little bit more, then you can probably just take a risk on your own and do it, because when you've got 8 hours a day longer to spend on your side hustle, which now full hustle, mate, it's just crazy. Everyone says it, but it's 100% correct, isn't it?
Yeah, if the market's big enough and you've already proven that there's especially with you boys, like I said, it's kind of initially it's all profit, isn't it? So as long as you've got a profitable business or item or whatever it is, and you've proven you can sell it, and the main issue probably is just going to be the time and the effort and the thought that you can give it. So naturally, going full time is, and especially I think different people are in different situations. It depends if you're a bit older, if you've got kids and wife and whatever, then obviously yes, risk increases, I guess. But
definitely.
If you're young, and especially if you've got, depending on what job you've got, but like you just said, you can get another job. So all you need is a small window, let's say a few months of money saved up. Depending on the business, I think this and your lifestyle varies. But anywhere from 3 to 6 months, if you've already got a bit of traction on your side hustle, then that's all you need to be able to live comfortably for the next 3 to 6 months, and then just go full time, and it's going to pay off 100%.
I think so. I think it's also when you're young. I try and tell people this who come to me for advice sometimes. They're like, I want to start a business. I don't know if I want to take the risk. If you're, I know it's subjective depending on people's circumstances, but if you're in your early or mid-20s, you're living at home, what have you got to lose, man?
Yeah, what's the risk?
What really is the risk? I get some people might be contributing towards their mum's mortgage, or they might not be. Everyone's circumstances are different, but you're never going to have as little risk as you are in your 20s or in your late teens. And if it doesn't work, who cares? Get over it, find something else, go again for something else, because it only gets harder. For example, you get mortgages, you get kids, you get huge commitments, school bills. That's going to be harder for you to take a risk.
Even if you're in a good job where you're earning a lot more, so if in your early 20s you're earning, let's say 30k, well, the risk's not that big, is it? Whereas if you're now earning in your late 20s or you're 30, 100, 110, 120k, the decision gets a lot harder to think,
Definitely,
shit, do you know what I mean? So it's you're better off doing it when you're not
earning.
That
lifestyle. If you're earning, let's say 100k, that you're spending money as well.
Then what happens? You're trying to think of $1 million business plan. £1 million business plan.
I think that on the flip side, if you are in that position, if you're in a position where it is going to be more of a risk, I feel because you've got a lot more to lose, that's where you'll see your true character come out. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
if you really want it.
I feel not necessarily, but by that it depends how late. But if you've been in a job for that long and you've got to that earning, then you're probably not I could never have gone that long. Do you know what I mean? I'm straight, entrepreneurial. You might not fully have it kind of in you to kind of, if you've been in a job for, let's say, 15 years or something like that. I'm not saying to not do it, but I feel the risk does get higher. You're best off just going for it young.
I think the character's really defined when you're in a situation where, for example, for me, I got fired. Yes, I could have got another job. I didn't want to go through that hell. For me, there was no other option. So you need to decide to yourself, do you want to live a life where you can create your life around what you want? Or do you want that security, and do you want to just always answer to someone else for the rest of your life? Because the little things that entrepreneurship for me gives me is priceless. Today I needed a haircut. 5 years ago when I was in employment, I could have never got a haircut during the day. I'd have to wait till Saturday, and a Saturday the barber's is mad busy. You got to wait for an hour. If you only want that specific guy, you might have to wait 2 hours. Just little things like being able to pick your mum up or your sister or your girlfriend from the airport, and it's on a Thursday afternoon, or if it's, someone's birthday, you don't have to ask to have it off. You want to go on holiday, you just go whenever you want, as long as you've got it organised. For me, I picked that over a job where I was earning 10 million a year. If I put me on 100k a year, give me freedom, I'll take that over 10 million a year, and I can't do what I want, But it's not for everyone. Don't get me wrong. For example, my girlfriend, she does really well for a recruitment company as an operations manager, and she loves her job. She loves the people she works with, and that's success. If you're happy doing that, then that is success.
I think it's business and stuff, or being entrepreneur is not for everyone. And I don't think it's it's for me, and it's like I couldn't help it anyways. Like I just could not stay in a job. I like to try and be building something, create something, take the risks. But I do think a lot of time, and I think, my God, like, who wants to go through this? Like, maybe you have a different experience, but like, I think, bloody hell, like, what am I doing? This is mad. Like, so I don't think, I wouldn't say, especially not yet, it's not glamorous in any way. Like, I'd be earning more personally. I would have earned more just by working and working my way up and being on a good day rate and doing what I was doing before. Like guys that work for me are earning more, taking more than I'm earning, and we're earning, and they've got far less stress, and they've got the security, and I think it comes down to what you want later in life and stuff like that. But it also depends what kind of company. Like I think for me, I mean, from the feedback from anyone that works for me as well, like we're a good company to work for. We're not dickheads. We're not, it's not kind of. It's just we respect everyone a lot. We know a lot of people anyway. Like a lot of the guys we was already friends with, or my dad was friends with them, or it's people we know. So there's the trust there, and it's kind of a good environment. Really, I think that it's really not that bad to work for us. Obviously, if you're that way inclined that you want to have a business, you are entrepreneurial, then fine, go for it. But as far as jobs go, I think especially the people that work for us, I think you've got it pretty good, to be fair.
And that's very important, like culture, right? Like, do people enjoy getting up and coming to work for your company every single day? If they do, then you're doing something right. If they don't, it's going to be very hard to build a sustainable business unless you always want to hire, fire, burn and churn. But that just takes so much energy to even do from the business owner's point of view. So culture is very important. But I mean, to anyone listening to this who's thinking about getting into social media marketing, you don't necessarily have to quit your job. The good thing about social media marketing is you can freelance, you can do it as a side hustle quite comfortably. If you can get good at Facebook ads and charge, I don't know, say like £500 a month per client. If you have 5 clients, which is very manageable, 5 clients running Facebook ads for, and you can generate good results, you're making £2,500 a month as a side hustle. You could even hire someone, say, in the Philippines to run your ads for you. They might cost you $700 a month. And before you know it, you don't have a fully automated business, but you've got a side hustle making you best part of 25k plus per year. And you can do that.
I think that's an avenue, like for me, what's your boys' take on? That's how I would build it. If it were me now and I was starting, I would try and do that. Yes, I'd want to learn the knowledge and stuff myself first, which we'll touch on in a sec, whether you think, there's certain courses people should do or YouTube or whatever, but come back to that. But I would try to learn and get the knowledge so I can at least be closing the deals to start with. But I would, I'd exactly that. I'd hire someone as soon as I get to the 2k a month or whatever. So maybe I do manage the first 4 clients, then I'm literally looking at whether it's South Africa or Philippines or whatever, to take on someone to run all of the accounts. And the next move is a salesperson, and literally try and automate and like just use the locations. That's why it's such good business. You can be completely location freedom.
And you can hire people that have been doing it for 7 years. Like you can hire someone. You could be 19 years old, and as long as you're okay at speaking to people, you can sign clients. Get like £1,000 clients, and you could literally get someone that's been doing media buying or basically running Facebook and Instagram adverts for 7 years. And now they're in your business, and now that's even an easier sale now for you because you've got experience behind you.
Probably get a salesperson that's been selling in that industry as well. So really, like you can just you can smash it, and then you can have obviously your what they call media buyers or whatever running ads for your own thing, and you can kind of automate it like.
For sure. I think in terms of automating it is, I mean, look, for transparency, we still ain't automated our business. We're, if you take us away from the business, it will somewhat run, but I don't know if automation is necessarily possible, especially in the first 2-3 years, because things always change in social media, right? Like ad accounts get blocked. Clients might complain, an account might get frozen, things get disabled. There's a lot to it where you can create a system that might generate results for, say, a week or 2. But with Facebook ads, for example, you might create a creative. So a creative is the picture, the copy is the writing of the ad. That could be a lead generation ad for, say, a dental clinic, right? You sign a dental clinic. They might be getting leads for the first 2 weeks. Then 5 days has gone by, not a single lead has gone, not a single lead has been generated. So that's where you need to be able to change things and create new strategies, also reassuring a client. If a client hasn't had a lead for 5 days and you're in your first month, he's going to come to you for answers. So I think ultimately there's a couple of things you need to consider if you're thinking about starting a social media marketing agencies. Firstly, do you have time to learn a skill? Because if you can sell but you can't market, you can sign a client but you're never going to retain the client. Retention's everything. Like if you sign 5 clients a month but you lose 5 clients a month, you're not growing.
How do you learn? What's the best way? If I want to, right, let's say I'm starting right now and I come to you, well, day one, right, I don't know how to run Facebook ads. Sure. I obviously understand Instagram. I've got Facebook, I've got TikTok. I want to learn. I'm keen to learn. Yeah. What do I do? Where do I?
2 things I'd advise. If you're not sure how serious you are yet, YouTube, free information. You can learn so much from YouTube. Mm-hmm. Type in how to run a lead generation ad on Facebook and Instagram. Learn from YouTube. If then you feel like you actually want to pursue this, a great course is there's a guy called Jordan Platten, right? He's one of, in my opinion, the most authentic trainers out there, because he doesn't just train, he actually has a marketing agency. His course isn't loads of money. I think it's, how much is Jordan Platten's course? Like 600 quid.
They run deals where you can get it for under a grand.
Under a grand. And that course will teach you how to cold call, how to sell, how to outreach, how to run ads, and it's for beginners. For me, that was one of the courses I'd done where I just found it quite simple, easy to use. So I think that's a really good investment in terms of how to get started if you want to learn how to run Facebook ads. A, go to YouTube. B, if you're serious, buy the course, or maybe do both.
I think just to add to that, exactly what you just said, with anything, any business, this is what I always say to people, just start. Some people just literally type in, what are Facebook ads? How to run Facebook ads for beginners, Instagram ads. Do you know what I mean? Some people just don't actually ever start and just think, let me YouTube this, let me Google this, let me just understand as much as I can. You just do that for a few hours, you realise you'll start learning quite a lot, and you'll get a bit of, again, momentum and understanding.
Like when I was burnt on holiday, literally 7 hours a day, just free YouTube videos.
Yeah, literally, just do things for beginners. There's so much content.
There's so much on YouTube. Like even Jordan Platten's YouTube channel, he gives away so much value for free. So many people give away so much value for free. The people you got to be wary of are those who just try and sell you something straight away. I've always had the mindset of, if this guy's giving me this for free and it's helped me personally, then he's going to give me more if I buy the course. And I can't work out if that's a marketing strategy that's very good or if there's like genuineness behind it. I don't know.
But there's one bit of advice definitely is that, in my opinion, is that a lot of people actually spend months, I suppose people do it, months learning how to do the adverts themselves, but then they don't know how to sign clients. So you spend however long doing that, and then you got to do clients, whereas you're probably better off trying to sign a client and then just throwing yourself into, okay, cool, let's say you sign a client and it's, I don't know, it is a dentist, and then at least you can throw yourself into, how can I do dental adverts the best way, and then at least it's all about dental.
Yeah, for sure. I think ultimately a lot of people go wrong with I've got to get my business cards right, I've got to get my website, I've got to perfect my logo, I don't like this logo, let me get another logo, let me get an Instagram page, let me get 10,000 followers. Just fuck that, fuck all of that off. Literally, when I signed my first client, for me and Luke, we didn't even have a website. I don't know if we even had a logo. Did we have a logo? I think we got a logo after we signed the client. I barely had an Instagram page. Sometimes it's better to sign someone, even if you offer them a free trial, right? So you get the experience and then work it out after. But you have to commit yourself to actually perfecting Facebook ads, because if you want to build a sustainable business, you have to be able to deliver. Otherwise, your clients are never going to stay.
Yeah. I was going to say that. What's your opinion on a good idea would probably be a free trial, let's say 2 months. You say you approach businesses where they probably do have the budget, whatever. You say, look, I'm willing to run your ads 2 months free of charge. You need to provide me with probably, to get some results, I don't know, $750 a month, let's say maybe $1,000 a month ad budget. I'm going to run them completely free. If you're happy and you want to continue after that, then £500 a month or whatever. If you do that for 3-4 clients, even if 2 of them stay on after, it's and you're going to have learned, aren't you?
Sure. I don't think that's a bad idea at all. I think personally, a good place to start would be, who do you already know? So if you want to start a marketing agency, you've done hours of revision on YouTube on how to sign a client and how to run ads. Do you have a family member that has a business? If so, what's the business? Do you think you can market for it? If you don't have a family member, do you have a friend who has a family member or someone in your network that you can approach? Because this is some advice I got when I first started. It's always easier to build a bridge with somebody who already knows you, for them to trust you because they already know you. Whereas when you're cold approaching prospects, which you are when you first start, and it's never harder than when you first start. You've got no social proof, you've got no reviews, you've got no brands, like, you've got no case studies. So try and start with people you know and offer them a free trial. Hell, they might even pay you if they like you. You know, if you can't do that, I don't think we had the opportunity to even do that at the time. I don't think we knew anyone because we started so young.
Well, you got a few, we got Ken Wayne, so a DJ friend. We said to him, look, like, we'll help you build your following, we'll help getting your posts out there, and we'll help you get sets, like, by DMing people. At first, it was like it was bespoke to businesses, like, even like we were DMing businesses to get our own business, but then we were saying to Simon Roofing, we were DMing scaffolding companies and saying, look, if you ever get any roofing jobs, can you send them our way, etc. So it's very like bespoke to that business, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure. You kind of have to be, I think, when you first start. Like, you know, if you're speaking to a business who doesn't have a social media presence, why not offer them social media management? I mean, the only reason we don't offer it anymore is because we've just developed into other areas, which you will naturally as well when you first start. But if you found a business on Instagram, they haven't posted since 2020, why not speak to that business owner and let them know you're leaving money on the table here because you have no brand. You know, if I'm looking for a dental clinic in Warlingham, you're a dental clinic in Warlingham, you haven't posted since 2020, and this dental clinic in Warlingham posts every single day, and I like his content, who are you going to pick? It's always going to be the one with most social presence. So that's always a good place to start.
Another good thing you can do is you can go online and see other people's adverts. So you can go online and look at, just type in Facebook ads library, and then you can go on there, type in, whatever you want to do, just type in roofing, and then search, and you'll see everyone's roofing adverts that are running adverts, and then you can see, and if anyone adverts don't look that great, contact them and say, look, like, I can do adverts better than this. And most of the time, if they don't know that great, they're either with an agency that's not doing that good, or they're trying to run it themselves and they don't have a clue. So if you go to them as the expert, then, and you only need to be an expert, you only need to know more than the person you're speaking to, right? Or come across that way. And you can sign them up. Or even if they're running good adverts, you can still contact them, because one good bit of advice is, preach to the choir. Like, these people are already spending money on adverts. It's easier to get money out of people that are already spending the money but want to spend it somewhere else than trying to persuade someone to actually run adverts in the first place. So we used to do that a lot, and spend so much time trying to persuade people you should run adverts. But now most of the people we sign probably run adverts. But we've been doing it a long time now. We've got a good team. Like, we can do it better than whoever they're with. Yeah,
it definitely helps the more you progress. Like, we've got 100% 5-star reviews. Never had a bad review in 4 years. We spend a lot of money in our own paid ads. So our whole business was built on outreaching back then, but now we just, we haven't had budget. We run Facebook ads ourselves, and that's how our clients find us to book a call. Then we close them on a marketing package. That's really good social proof, because when they ask us, how does it work? I say, exactly how you found me is exactly how I'm going to find you clients.
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm saying?
Powerful then.
Yeah.
They can't really say too much.
100%. And then if you say to them, look, you've spoken to 5 marketing agencies in the last week. Let me ask you, are they running adverts? If so, why not? If they're not, why don't you think they are? Most agencies don't run ads, honestly.
Really?
No, they don't. They don't run ads. So we say, we actually practice what we preach. Like, this is how we sign our clients' paid ads, I think ultimately as well, like, when you do start, or even if you're listening to this and you already have a marketing agency, you need to weigh up the pros and cons of niching down, right? Like, when we first started, I'd just sign anyone that could pay me. Like, didn't even care what business they were. But now we only work with aesthetic clinics. We only work with dental practices and hair transplant clinics. And the benefit with that is, when you master an industry, it's easier to get results for other clients in the same industry. The cons are, the UK is a small place. If you've got 3 clients already in London, what's the 4th client going to think if you've got 2 clients that are only 10 miles away from them? It can be a little bit conflicting.
Yeah. What's two questions on that? What's a few good niches people could consider? And 2, you're saying the UK is a small market. If it's an international market, what about how does that work? Testing the waters with kind of, you know, the US and stuff
Yeah.
like that. Have you tried
I think
that?
with
Do you
niching-
recommend that or?
With niching, like we've changed. Well, at the start we did change niche. We would go after a certain niche. We might message loads of dentists because it's easier just to go after, like, say, okay, I'm going to go after dentists for this month and just hit dentists. And then we did switch off that. We're like, okay, this month we're going to hit estate agents, and then this month we're going to hit chiropractors, and we did that quite a lot. Whereas that was probably we probably should have stayed with one of them, and then we would have ended up being in that niche anyways. But everything happens for a reason, right? So we ended up being aesthetics. But I'd say that just pick something that you probably know a little bit about or like at the start. Like, I don't know why we always go after estate agents, because like property or whatever. Before it'd be good, but then it was and then you see if you like dealing with that type of people. Like, we were dealing with a lot of trades and a lot of people that are starting out in trades, and sometimes it weren't necessarily the easiest people to get paid from.
Yeah,
So
that's true. That's true.
That was difficult.
I think in trades it's tough, right? Because a lot of tradesmen make a lot of money firstly, but when you ask a typical tradesman, no offense, Joe, like not for you personally, I know you spend a lot of money on marketing. You know, what type of marketing do you? They'll be like, check a trades, trust a trader, cost me 50 quid a month, get loads of work, it's crazy. So when you try to tell them, like, I charge 1,500 a month and you got to spend 1,000 ad spend, they're like, well, $2.5 grand, mate, that's fucking nuts. Like, they don't want to do it, you know? Yeah. So I think ultimately, like, good niches are any niches where you can make that client a lot of money from one sale, right? So I see a lot of people sometimes try and find a niche. They say, like, oh, Sam, what do you think about this as a niche? And it might be, say, for example, I don't know, say a car recovery company. Very hard thing to market, firstly, and secondly, it's hard to get right. The margins aren't that high. But if you're marketing, say, for a private dental clinic in Harley Street and they charge £10,000 for a pair of composite bondings, you know, you get them one client, you charge £1,000 a month, they spend £1,000 on ads, they've made £8,000 profit off one sale. So I think anything where that client can make a lot of money from one sale is a good niche to scale, for sure. Yeah.
And I think another thing I want to kind of touch on, because I feel a lot of people I speak to, and I feel like maybe just it's a starting point, and if things go well, they change their mind. But a lot of people are looking for a side hustle. Yeah. And their job might not be too demanding, and they can put in some hours in the evening or the weekends and stuff like that. And they're looking for a side hustle. They want that extra £1,000 a month, and that's going to be, you know, great numbers to a lot of people. And it's not going to take over their life, right, in terms of time. And they might already be earning, you know, in a good career or a job they like and enjoy, and they're not trying to break out of, you know, so-called rat race or whatever. They just want a good side hustle. Maybe it leads somewhere, maybe it doesn't. They might just carry it on, scale it up a little bit, whatever, right? So for those types of people, do you think this is a great, if they were just trying to kind of keep it around that 1 to 2K, maybe 3K, you know, but that smaller stage, not having staff, not having an office, not having this huge stress or pressure or trying to quit and go full time, do you think this is a good strategy to go for?
I think so, yeah. I definitely think so, yeah, because, I mean, if you only want an extra £1,000 a month, which, like, is, you know, that's good money for a side hustle, like, it's life-changing
if it's
money.
straight in your pocket, especially. Yeah. It's not, we talk about £1,000 now as businesses, and it is very different, because £1,000 comes in and that's just out, vanishes, disappears. Like, you literally, sure. Like, so £1,000, if they could have that just literally
take home
in their pocket, you know, if you're on 3K a month, that's an extra, you know,
£1,000, I think it's a great thing to do if you're just looking for an extra, even if you want an extra £500 a month, £1,000 a month. Like, effectively, if you can learn ads, you know, for lead generation, you don't need 10 years worth of experience. You just need to be able to master a very simple way of running an ad on Facebook and Instagram. If you're dedicated to it, you can learn it, in my opinion, in 6 weeks of hard revision and practice. So if you're trying to earn an extra £1,000 a month and you don't want to quit your job and you just want it as side revenue, 100% digital marketing, it's something very cool to look into, because effectively, you know, when you've got a bit of experience, you can make that off one client. Yeah.
So you boys roughly charge now, obviously I know it varies, but what, like £1,000 a month as an average kind of fee?
As a minimum.
As a minimum.
Yeah. So we got clients paying us 2.5, some 3,000 a month.
Oh, wow.
But I'd say average is probably about 1,500 plus VAT per month, which is good, yeah.
So Yeah, probably, let's say if they wanted to get started, they do the revision, they learn. Maybe a good place to start, like you said, is people that, like you boys done, so page management, find people that aren't posting consistently enough. You know, maybe they're too busy. Hopefully they're making good money, so they're happy to part with, you know, £300, £400. Maybe you sign 2 of those clients to kind of get some cash coming in. That could be £800 there whilst you're mastering and learning the ads for, you know, maybe you can upsell those clients or, you know, or if not, you can at least maybe you could then be doing the free trial for other people for like 2 months of the Facebook ads whilst you're still actually, it's still worth your time because you're making £800 off page management, but you know the ultimate goals, for example, Facebook ads. But yeah, I think if you offered like a trial to 4 people or 3 people, whilst you had 2 page management, £400, you know, post once a day or once every other day or something with their content, even do some research. There's so many apps for free or maybe like £20 for the year. I can't remember off the top of my head, but I used to use for the clothing that you can make such cool stories, even reels and TikToks. You just put in the stuff and it does all the transitions. It has borders. It has all the text in nice writing come over the top, and you can make stories look so cool and professional in like a click of a few buttons. Yeah. So I think like just download a few things like that a lot of these people just don't have time, I haven't thought of, and it will look like you're spending so much time and effort on their page. Make it look really good. Their followers will notice that, and hopefully you can retain these clients.
Yeah, I agree. I think like regarding the time thing, if you're working a 9 to 5, you're saying you ain't got time, just don't bother. Like it's not for you. But you know, if you're working 9 to 5, and I get people get tired. You know, me and Luke were when we started, but you can dedicate even just 1 hour a night, 5 days a week into learning Facebook ads. I promise you, within 4 or 5 weeks, you'll be able to run a somewhat functional Facebook ad. In terms of how to sign clients, best option is speak to people. You know, the worst anybody's ever going to say is no. Yeah. It's hard, like facing rejection as humans, we don't like it. I think I'm quite lucky because I come from a sales role. I got told no more times in one day than most people probably get told in like 2 years. So I naturally had that resilience because of the circumstances I was in for years. But the best advice I can give to people is have conversations, speak to people. Don't try and sell them. Social media is not a hard sell. It can't be. You have to be a conversational problem solver, right? So you need to be able to speak to a business owner and say, hey, by the way, I really, really like your page. Never, ever just fuck off that page and say it's shit because you're going to get the backup. Even if it is shit, just say, look, I've noticed you're doing this really, really well. And I've seen that you have a really good location for your business, but you're probably leaving a little bit of money on the table because you're not doing X, Y, Z and you're not running paid ads. Just wondering if you was open to a couple of minutes of a conversation so I can just share some free value on what I think could make you more money. Are you open to making more money, John?
Yeah.
Who's not open to making more money? Like they're business owners. It's why they started a business.
I think one good thing that was, we didn't necessarily know it right at the start about cold calling is that first before you're cold calling and you'd pitch there and then, which is probably what we were doing at the start. But then you realise that actually you need to call up and say, look, I can see that you could be doing better online. There's this company that's in your same area. They're running adverts, you're not. So you are leaving money on the table. Yeah. I don't want to pitch you right now. I just want to know if you've got 5 minutes, like later in the week, where we can just chat about this and see if we can work or not. And then they appreciate it so much more because you're not trying to ram it down their throat.
For sure. And just to add to that, if you can say, oh, I've noticed you're not doing this, and your competitor, name the competitor, they'll know them if they're in the same industry, is doing this. They'll be like, oh, fuck, they're doing it. I need to be doing it as well. It's just a psychological thing. And even better, like start off local. That's what we done when we first started. If you can start off local, cold call a business and say, oh, by the way, you're based in Purley. I actually live down the road in Coulston. I actually drive past your shop a couple of times a week. I've heard that you do really good food. Don't lie too much because they might catch you out and that's not good. But I'd really appreciate if I could just maybe pop by if you've got 10 minutes, just so I can share some ideas with you. You know, if you give them a compliment, say they're doing this well, but they're not doing this and the competitor's doing this, can I just come by for 5 minutes and talk to you about how you could potentially do better? They're probably going to say yes, you know? So, yeah, meeting people definitely helps.
But yeah, I think it is easier to go after local businesses first because these businesses are getting contacted all the time by other people like yourself or like us trying to win their business effectively. But if they're local, a lot of people, if you can go and meet them, or they know you're from the local area, it instantly just builds trust, right, straight away. Or get on, like, if you're not going to contact local people, then make sure just get on Zooms as well, because when someone sees your face, I think they just buy into you a lot more. You can read them a lot more as well and see if they're interested. So I would be getting people on Zooms. I think a lot of this stuff that we're saying about as well, like, we can reel it off like so easy now, but it wasn't like that. We weren't doing Zooms for years. We didn't have contracts for years. Like, it all just...
So we weren't charging £1,000 for years. Like, you know,
well,
we
that's
really
where
started from the
hopefully they
bottom.
can learn from you. But a couple of things I picked up on that, I don't know if it's completely clear, is we've said Facebook ads a lot.
Yeah.
First of all, Facebook ads... Also, we mean Instagram ads. They can, obviously, you're running Facebook ads, they come up on Instagram as well. It's all through one platform. So it's sort of Facebook, Instagram, you do all through one ads manager. What about the other ads? Google ads, TikTok ads now, Snapchat ads?
For sure. I don't know too much about Snapchat ads. They could be good. It's not something we specialise in. I know with agencies that do it and they talk highly of them. So yeah, maybe. You know, you got to bear in mind, social media marketing is very, very highly populated. The majority of social media marketing agencies, what do they market on? Facebook, Instagram. How many do TikTok? Quite a few are adapting, but if you could master an upcoming platform, because TikTok's going to be the next Facebook, I guarantee it. They'll be bigger than Facebook as long as the government doesn't ban it from all that shit what's happening in China, but that's a whole other story. So if you can master TikTok ads, then you're in a good place. But just to add, Facebook's ads manager, so ads manager is where you run ads from on Facebook, is identical to TikTok ads manager. So TikTok have replicated Facebook ads manager platform. So if you can master Facebook ads and Instagram ads, Facebook, Instagram, same thing, owned by Meta, then you can master TikTok ads.
That's clever. They've done that obviously because it's going to, if it was a hard switch for the marketers and stuff like that, then obviously, you know, they might be less inclined to move over to that platform to try and target their business, and ultimately you're the ones that's then driving the ads, because obviously, you know, you're calling people to close. So
for sure.
I think that's a really good thing that you've actually mentioned that, because like we run TikTok adverts as well, and it's something we want to kind of break into more because we know how to do it. It's not actually a problem doing it. I think, but if you were to say like, oh, I want to be the TikTok marketer for estate agents, like, and you just went down that avenue right now, like you can learn the ads easy. Like it's like and then that would be your niche. Like anyone that's niching in TikTok and into a niche, you're winning really. And it's the same sell.
What
It's the
about
same sell.
Google ads?
Google adverts, you can learn Google adverts as well. I think you kind of got to pick one or the other.
And focus down on something, at least to start with.
I'd say to start with, like when we started, to be fair, we were doing Google ads as well. We didn't really know too much what we were doing, but somehow they were just working, which was handy. So yeah, I think like to start off with, master one platform. I think Facebook, typically speaking, is probably the most sensible place to start. For one reason, Facebook still has the most daily users. I think the daily users is, like 2.9 billion people a day.
Crazy numbers.
Consider how many people's in the world? 7 billion or something. So nearly like half the people in the world are using Facebook every day. Facebook also bought Instagram 2 years ago. Facebook bought WhatsApp about a year and a half ago. So what that means for advertising is Facebook as a platform, they don't just own the platforms, they own the data. Right? So the interesting thing about Facebook is it's tracked everything you've done since you started your account, whenever you started it. If you started an account in 2012, Facebook knows if you like coffee or tea, if you're a cat person or a dog person, it knows if you're single or in a relationship. So the algorithms will naturally try and show you stuff that means something to you. So yeah, Facebook and Instagram, great place to start for sure. But TikTok's only going to become more relevant, you know? Yeah.
And I think that's obviously just so people don't understand, when the targeted ads, like what you're saying, Facebook and stuff, they know everything. So when you're in the back end, you can literally select these things. Like for instance, I remember seeing like, you can target someone whose best friend is having a baby in the next like few weeks and stuff. Like that's literally an option on the Facebook ads. Like it's crazy. Or a friend that's just had a baby, like, so let's say you're selling like christening products or something, like you can literally target people so specifically, it's insane. So
yeah, if you've got a business, like you can get in front of, it's almost guaranteed you can get in front of people that are interested in it. The algorithm knows like that person is, if the business is like an electrician and there's people searching for, they need an electrician for their house on Google, Facebook knows about it.
Yeah, exactly.
Like Google knows if Facebook know if people do it on Facebook. It's all mixed in.
Give me an example of that actually. So like, have you ever gone on to say like flannels or designer website, Selfridges, and you've seen a nice handbag or pair of trainers you want, you add them into your basket but you don't buy it, you get like buyer's remorse in it. And then what do you see for the next week?
Yeah.
The same trainers popping up, similar trainers popping up, because they've caught your data, so they're remarketing to you. And a lot of people are, I don't know if victims is the right word, but are products of advertising in terms of the purchases that they have. Like, all you got to do is look in your mum and dad's fridge. Like, what drinks do they have? Coke. Why? Every single fucking advert on the TV commercials is to do with Coke. Like McDonald's, that's where everyone wants to go when they're hungry. Like, advertising is everything to do with what we do every day. Like, I'll give you an example. It gets even deeper than this, right? There's something called subliminal advertising. Okay, so I'll give you an example. There's a car called I Go Buy Toyota. Say it slowly. I go buy a Toyota. It's telling you that you're going to go and buy a Toyota in the fucking name of the car thing, right? Like, McDonald's is another example. I'm loving it. Like, if you ask somebody what they think about McDonald's, oh yeah, I'm loving it. I love it. It's like really clever subliminal marketing. So yeah, this stuff gets deep, really, really deep, you know?
Mad.
Yeah, for sure.
That's crazy. And that's, I guess, what people just need to, as they learn, they try and tap into, and that's what makes the ads work and it's powerful. But so as we're coming to an end of this podcast, obviously we've covered a lot. Just kind of as a recap for anyone listening, how they could actually get started, what the first kind of 6 months could look like, where to learn. Obviously things like how much they need to be telling their client, ad budgets and stuff like that. So I guess just start from day one, what they're going to do if someone wants to take action right now.
Make an Instagram page 100% first for your own. You don't have to run it business. Don't run it as a business page. Do it as, like, obviously mine's Luke Harvey, HW for Luke Harvey, Harvey Royal Media, whatever. So your name and whatever. Set it up. Get some cool photos on there, like Sam said earlier, like you with your girlfriend, or just maybe just you, just civilized, looking civilized.
Yeah.
And then you can literally just get some, like, it's not going to get any attention, but just to build up your page. You just go on Canva and get some graphics or make some reels about facts to do with Facebook or Instagram or TikTok. Just whack them up just to make your page look a little bit, just so it's there, yeah? And then start DMing people, innit? Would you say, Doc, straight away?
I think so, yeah. I think firstly as well, once you made your Instagram page, don't worry too much about what you're posting. No one's going to fucking see it.
Yeah, literally, that's the thing, yeah.
You know, you just need to build up something that looks somewhat established. And by that, just post maybe 3 pictures a day for 2 weeks. Don't think too much about what to post. Like, mix personal life in with, you know, you might be at a conference or something, say great marketing conference, whatever. Of course, you've got your page.
Show your face on there, 100%.
Yeah, you have to show your face.
You
have to show your face. Like, people buy from people, they don't buy from graphic design or text or quotes, right? Mm-hmm. So definitely be your own brand, because that's all you have. All you have to start with is yourself. So you need to get yourself across on your page, firstly. Secondly, YouTube, how to run Facebook ads. Do a solid hour revision a day if you can. Eat a couple of hours a week at the very least. And then from there, when you've got the basic kind of formula of how an ad works, start calling local businesses. In my opinion, you should reach out to local businesses and find somebody who's not running ads. Say you want to go after the restaurant niche. You found a restaurant that's in South London. You found another restaurant on the same road that's in South London. They're running Facebook ads and they've got good branding. Call that restaurant and say, hey, by the way, love your page. I actually drive past your restaurant on the way to and from work. And I've just noticed you look like you've got a really nice shop. It looks amazing, but I've noticed you're not running any ads right now. I think you're leaving quite a lot of money on the table because your competitor, like Biggie, McDonald's, whatever you want to call it, they are running ads and they always look busy because I drive past them too. So if you've got 5 minutes, I'd love to just come by and just talk some strategy with you. When's good for you? Tuesday or Wednesday, morning or afternoon. Try an alternative, close it. Don't be scared of the rejection. You're going to get told no more than you're going to get told yeah. But you got to see it as a numbers game. You know, try and set yourself a small target. I mean, when I first started, I try and make a minimum of 20 calls a day. 20 cold calls a day, 19 calls, some days even 20 calls would just hang up the phone on me, which is fine. You're not going to sound great when you first start unless you have some sort of sales background. But what you really need is one yes for you to build some momentum. So speak to people, book meetings, get experience with actually having conversations. Depending on where you're at, how confident you feel, offer a free trial, and sometimes use being a new guy to your advantage. You know, people really admire and like people that are trying to better themselves. So if you go into that business and say, look, you know, I'm pretty new to this, but I'm really keen to learn. I'm pretty young or old or whatever, but I really want to try and make something of this. Hell, I'll work for free. All I need you to do is pay the ad budget. And when you're talking about ad budget, it's important they understand they don't pay you the ad budget. They do it through their own ad account. What I'm happy to explain to someone if they want to reach out to me. It's kind of hard to say no to that. You know, you're not charging them any money. I guarantee you, if you have 10 meetings, at least one person's going to say yeah. One person's going to say yeah. So that should be your target. Book 10 meetings, one person's going to say yeah. Then you've got a client. And then from there, you just got to graft, stay consistent, make 20 calls a day, send 40 DMs a day to restaurants, or not even just restaurants. I'm not even saying that's the best niche, it's probably not. But yeah, that's what I'd advise in terms of how to get started.
And I think a good way to obviously just to add on that to sell is, you know, rather than just, you still want to sound very confident, so you can be going in saying, look, a lot of the bigger agencies, they've got overheads, they've got a few more years on me, they're charging £1,500 to £3,000 a month. You know I could certainly be charging £750 a month or £1,000 a month for my services. However, I just don't have for the knowledge and the value I can bring. However, I just don't have the testimonials yet. And for that reason, your local business, I'd love to help you out. So I'm willing to work for free, you know, on a 2-month trial. If you're happy, we do a rolling
for sure, definitely.
And,
and one other thing I'll add to that is when you're actually speaking to clients face to face or over Zoom, never go straight in with a sell. Never do that. Like, you need to understand them, right? And by that, a good salesperson asks good questions. People misconceive this. They think a good salesperson talks a lot, which sometimes they do, but you know, you've got 2 ears and 1 mouth, like use it to that ratio. You know, a good salesperson is going to ask good questions. You know, what is that business currently struggling with at the moment? If it's a dental practice, what are your quietest days? Why do you think this is? How long have they been your quietest days for? You know, where do you want to be this time 12 months from now? What's stopping you from getting there sooner? You've identified that problem now. Marketing can be the solution to that problem. So you have to link your product or service as a solution to the problem, and that's called a solution sell. Because the minute you start doing that, you don't sound salesy, you actually sound like a problem solver. Yeah. And people want to fuck with problem solvers, they don't want to fuck with a sales guy.
Yeah, exactly that.
I mean,
if you're not going to, and I think like obviously if you know someone else you could do this with, like it made sense. Me and Sam have completely different skill sets, so it made sense that I didn't really need to go and learn sales. Like we did mix and match a bit. Like he would help out with ads, I'd help out with sales, but overall we knew where we were, our areas were. So you've
operations kind of.
So then it definitely will help you, because then you can just focus on your part. Like I can just focus on the marketing and you can focus on the sales. So if you've got someone you can do it with, it makes sense. If you're not, then you're going to have to spend half the time learning sales, half the time learning marketing. Because I think I think if it's just yourself, you're not going to really want to do the marketing yourself for ages. You just want to have a good understanding of it. Then it will be easier for you to sell, right?
Yeah, for sure. I think it comes down to like, if you know someone, before you just jump in and say, oh, you work in sales, I'm smart, like you do the marketing, you do the sales, you need to analyse that character you're thinking of. Can you trust them? Trust is everything. Like me and Luke have had 50,000 plus in an account before. We ain't got no contracts. Like he could run away with my money, vice versa, if we wanted to. But I trust him with my life. So you need to think, do you trust this person firstly? Secondly, is this person going to work as hard as you are? If they're not, it's not going to work. So many business partners go into partnerships and they either fall out or they stop being partners very, very quickly, because if you're putting in the work and your business partner isn't, that's going to piss you off, right? So there's things you have to take into consideration. You can do it by yourself. You know, I know, and so does Luke, very successful entrepreneurs who run marketing agencies who have done it by themselves. There's benefits to that. 100% of the money's yours. You know, if you're in a partnership, it's 50-50. But then there's benefits to being in a partnership. You celebrate wins. Entrepreneurship's lonely. You know, if we ever sign a client, we have a celebration. You go through hard times together, because, to be honest with you, like, the first year is tough. It's still tough now, to be fair. So, you know, having somebody to go through the tough times with really helps. So you just need to think about it. You know, you might be in a position where you don't want a business partner. That's fine. When you get to a certain level, you can hire a manager, you can hire an operations director. You don't always have to give someone a share of the company to fill in the gaps where you don't feel strongest with. But ultimately, if you know what your skill is, learn to perfect that before the other, because that's what's going to make you the money. Yeah.
So then, I can't remember where we got to exactly. So they've learned. They've put the time in, they've learned the ads. Let's say they chose like Facebook's ads. They're reaching out, cold calling local businesses and stuff like that, or people they know. You know, they've nurtured the relationship a little bit, and then they've hit them with a pitch. Hopefully they sign a couple of clients. How does it go? What kind of ad budget? Obviously the clients can't go and have a £200 a month ad budget because you're not going to get any results. So what's kind of the minimum they need to be telling the prospects?
It's probably better that Luke talks about this because it's more marketing, but I guess it's subject. It kind of depends. It just depends.
But you're going to go. I'd say a good one is like £20 a day.
Yeah,
that's a good ad budget. The more they spend, the better the results they'll get.
Yeah,
but £20 a day is what you're going to have to go in with to start off with if you're not sure what you're doing. Because £20 a day, you will be able to get like okay results.
Yeah, because you're not going to want to spend like a £5 a day, for instance, are you?
No, don't do that. That's the one thing. Don't do that.
We used to do that for like maybe the first year, because when you first start,
it doesn't work.
You don't want to pitch the high amount. You're scared. You're like, oh, I can't charge for £600 a month. It's too much money. But those barriers, they do slowly break down. I'd probably advise to try and avoid startups. They're going to give you a lot of shit, even if it is for free. If they're fronting £20 a day, which is £600 a month, you know, to a company that's not making money, that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
Right. So try and find businesses that have been running for a minimum of 2 years, maybe have 2 staff, and are somewhat doing. Don't have to be doing amazing, but doing okay, because they're going to give you a lot less shit. Like, we don't work with startups. Like, we just don't do it. It's just so problematic. For sure. I
think we spoke about like just now speaking about the adverts, but if you want to like to build a little bit of knowledge, you could offer page management. Like, it's still a thing. Like, it still works, because at the end of the day, like, we just know that we now know adverts and we can charge £1,000 for it. But if we're doing page management, although there is companies out there that will pay a lot for page management, it's like you can earn your place with the £200, because £200 ain't a lot to those people. And they can make that back because it's so small, and then that might just get you a little bit of leeway. So now you could get 3 of them, you're earning £600. Now you maybe just keep with them and learn how to run adverts at the same time, and then a lot of time they end up letting you test the adverts on them. So it's like it's win-win.
It's a good way in, isn't it? Page management. Have you thought about running ads? But anyone listening to this podcast that wants just some advice or a chat in terms of questions they might have or how to start, reach out to me. My Instagram is Samuel Warrington _HW.
It's in our Instagram bios as well. It's in the Multipliers Club. Well. In the Multipliers Club on Instagram.
Perfect. Yeah. So just reach out to either me or Luke. Like, we're happy to give you some guidance and let you know kind of how to start and how we done it.